The story of Puerto Rico in 2025 is not one of a sudden catastrophic event. Instead, it's a narrative of a slow, grinding economic crisis, unfolding gradually and visibly. While global attention is often directed elsewhere, focusing on other pressing issues, the island faces a pivotal moment, a critical juncture in its history. Its economy is contracting, reversing years of fragile recovery and halting progress. The initial optimism fueled by post-hurricane aid is now fading into the background, replaced by a growing sense of uncertainty and concern for its over 3 million residents. This isn't merely a cyclical downturn or a temporary setback. It's a stark warning sign, indicating deeper and more persistent challenges that need addressing. Investors and policymakers had hoped that debt restructuring would ignite a significant economic revival, but current trends clearly demonstrate that fiscal discipline alone is simply not enough to turn the tide. Without substantial private sector growth and a reversal of the ongoing demographic decline caused by immigration, Puerto Rico faces the very real risk of being trapped in a cycle of stagnation and long-term dependency. The island stands at a critical crossroads, a point of no return, and the decisions made now will irrevocably shape its economic sovereignty for generations to come. To move forward effectively, we must look past simplistic narratives and superficial solutions, and confront the deeply intertwined weaknesses that are holding the island back, including a shrinking population base, a persistently weak labor market with limited opportunities, and the burden of heavy debt. Only by truly understanding these complex connections and their impacts can Puerto Rico effectively chart a sustainable path towards genuine, self-sustaining economic growth and prosperity. Puerto Rico's economic crisis in 2024 to 2025 boils down to 5 core issues. First, negative GDP growth, less business activity, fewer jobs, and shrinking prosperity. Second, rising unemployment, especially in skilled positions, fueling financial distress and brain drain. Third, critically low private investment, as uncertainty and high costs deter both local and foreign capital. Fourth, a heavy public debt burden that eats up government resources. Fifth, a weak public sector, struggling to deliver reliable services and execute reforms. These pain points are interconnected, creating a cycle that drags down the entire economy. Breaking this cycle requires bold, targeted action. Let's look at the numbers behind Puerto Rico's slowdown. GDP is projected to contract by up to 1% in 2024 and 2025, a troubling reversal after years of recovery. Unemployment is rising, with rates climbing back toward 8% while labor force participation remains below 45%. Many working-age Puerto Ricans aren't even seeking jobs, reflecting deep discouragement. Inflation remains stubbornly high, eroding household purchasing power and hurting local businesses. Public debt, still over $70 billion, consumes a huge share of the budget, crowding out investment in infrastructure and services. These figures reveal an economy squeezed from all sides, shrinking, expensive, and burdened by debt. Without decisive change, the data points to a future of stagnation. The numbers are a call to action. Behind the cold, hard statistics lies a more profound reality. There are real stories of struggle unfolding across Puerto Rico, stories that paint a vivid picture of the challenges faced by its people. In Mayaguez, a medical supply company is forced to halt its expansion plans. This difficult decision is due to the burden of high energy costs and a persistent shortage of skilled workers, hindering growth and innovation. The result is 50 jobs lost before they're even created, a blow to the local economy. In the heart of Old San Juan, a cherished family restaurant is grappling with declining revenue. They are also facing rising operational costs, squeezing their profit margins. This forces them to make tough choices, including staff cuts and delaying much-needed upgrades to their facilities. Across the island, small businesses everywhere are feeling the squeeze. They are burdened by weak consumer demand and increasingly high expenses, creating a challenging environment for survival. For the workers of Puerto Rico, the impact of these economic challenges is deeply personal. Take, for example, a young IT graduate in Bayamon who, despite her qualifications, can't find a job in her chosen field. Faced with limited opportunities, she reluctantly plans to leave for the mainland, seeking a brighter future elsewhere. Sadly, she is just one of many, joining the ongoing brain drain that is depleting the island of its talent. As the economy struggles, public services are stretched increasingly thin, road repairs are delayed, schools lack essential resources impacting the quality of education, and, concerningly, emergency response times are growing, putting lives at risk. These daily realities erode the overall quality of life for residents. They also make it increasingly difficult for businesses to survive and thrive in this challenging environment. Economic stagnation isn't just about abstract numbers and figures, it represents lost opportunities for growth and prosperity. It leads to the decline of communities as businesses close and residents move away. Ultimately, it results in families being forced to make the heartbreaking decision to leave their home in search of a better future. The true cost of this crisis is measured in the lives that are disrupted and uprooted. It's measured in the dreams that are deferred and the futures that are put on hold, leaving a generation in limbo. Ultimately, Puerto Rico's crisis is a deeply human one, impacting every facet of life on the island. The pain points, the economic struggles that Puerto Rico faces, shrinking GDP, a clear sign of economic contraction, unemployment, a persistent challenge for the island's workforce, low investment, hindering growth and development, and high debt, a heavy burden on the island's financial stability, are symptoms of deeper structural flaws that have plagued the island for decades. The most critical is a shrinking, aging population, a demographic shift with far-reaching consequences. As young skilled workers leave for the U.S. mainland seeking better opportunities, this demographic decline shrinks the labor pool and tax base, weakening the foundation of the economy, making the island less attractive for investment and hindering its potential for growth. The economy remains undiversified, lacking the resilience needed to withstand economic downturns. Still reliant on a weakened manufacturing sector after the loss of federal tax incentives, a significant blow to the island's economy. New high-growth industries haven't taken root, failing to fill the void left by the decline of manufacturing, leaving Puerto Rico vulnerable to economic shocks and external pressures. Heavy reliance on U.S. federal aid has fostered dependency, hindering the development of a self-sustaining economy, masking the lack of organic private sector growth and stifling innovation. The island's ambiguous political status, neither state nor sovereign nation, creates chronic uncertainty for investors, making long-term planning difficult, and limits local policy tools, restricting the government's ability to address the island's challenges effectively. This uncertainty affects everything from shipping costs to the ability to attract new industries, creating a challenging business environment. Until these structural issues are addressed and fundamental reforms are implemented, Puerto Rico's economy will remain stuck in a cycle of stagnation, hindering its potential for prosperity. Real change requires tackling these root causes head-on, with bold and decisive action. If current trends persist, Puerto Rico faces a lost decade of stagnation. GDP could flatline or shrink, unemployment will stay high, and the population will keep declining. Businesses will close, investment will dry up, and reliance on federal aid will deepen. Another fiscal crisis looms if revenues fall short, forcing more painful cuts to services and risking default. Social unrest and political instability could rise, especially among frustrated youth. The cycle of crisis and short-term fixes will make real reform even harder. For the U.S., a struggling Puerto Rico is a strategic liability, draining resources and missing its potential as a regional economic hub. The cost of inaction is economic, social, and geopolitical. The stakes couldn't be higher. Puerto Rico's future depends on bold, sustained reform. First, overhaul education to align with a modern economy. Focus on STEM, vocational training, and bilingualism to retain and attract talent. Second, invest massively in infrastructure. Modernize the energy grid, expand broadband, and upgrade roads and ports to support business growth. Third, create a stable, pro-business environment. Streamline regulations, simplify taxes, and encourage both local and foreign investment. The goal? Shift from dependency to private sector dynamism and innovation. These changes require political will and a long-term vision. Puerto Rico's recovery is about unlocking the potential of its people and building a resilient, competitive economy. The time for decisive action is now. For more data-driven insights and global market breakdowns, subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay informed, stay ahead. This is Economics FX, where clarity meets strategy. Until next time, trade smart.